Bro, he is top 10.
He's not top 10, come on.
There's no way he's not top 10 in this league.
He hasn't scored in the last 3 games. What do you mean?
I can't do this anymore.
Relax. Welcome to the Triple Threat Show, powered by Bwin.
Welcome into the Triple Threat Show, powered by Bwin. I'm George Americanos. Around this part of the globe, they call me Uncle George. To my right, I have the rising star in this industry, DA, a.k.a. Diονύσης Αραβαντινός. And of course, the star of the show, Chima Moneke from Baskonia. What's up, man? How are you? How's everything?
Good to be here. Happy to be here. Shout out to Bwin. Episode 2. I'm very, very excited.
I'm happy we're coming off a dub against Partizan. That was a big game. Congratulations on that. That was a nice game to watch. I'm really happy the league is back, you know. Let's get straight into it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
start with the biggest takeaways of week 1, okay? So, D, this is his segment. So, it's only one game, but Fenerbahce is a legit title contender. Let's start with Chima. What do you think, dude?
Yep, I completely agree. I had them in my Final Four just because the changes that they made while keeping, their core players, most of their core players, just puts them over the top, in my opinion. And they already went to the Final Four last year. To add Boban and then to add Wade Baldwin, who's arguably the best player now on a team that already had Nigel Hayes-Davis, they're going to be tough. They're going to be very tough to beat at home, on the road, and, they're very deep. And Bonzi was very great and super underrated as well.
I'm going to have to disagree with that one about the best player on the team, but I'm going to hand the mic over to D.
Who do you think is the best player on the team?
Nigel Hayes-Davis.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay. I agree with Chima on this one, both for Wade Baldwin and in general for Fenerbahce. Last week, when we were in Vitoria, George, I said that there are 3 legit contenders in the EuroLeague. After one game, Chima, I'm changing it, and I'm saying there are 4 legit contenders in the EuroLeague right now. It only took one game for me to put Fenerbahce in the same tier as Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, and Real Madrid. I think the big 3 of Wade Baldwin, Bonzi Colson, and Nigel Hayes-Davis is probably one of the best in the league, if not the best. And I think that with Boban's presence, at least for 15 minutes, it gives them, the ability to score in the paint, to be tough on defense, to help out in multiple of ways. And I think that this is why, especially after a big-time win against Olympiacos, who didn't have Mustafa Fall and Nikola Mirotic, but I think that either way, it's a huge win opening night. So I think that Fenerbahce, with the addition of both Bonzi Colson and Wade Baldwin, is, in my opinion, a legit title contender.
I still have some questions about Fenerbahce. It's gonna be interesting to see how they finish games. The last team that won the EuroLeague had ran a lot of 3-guard lineups with good decision makers and people who can create for themselves and their teammates. So while I love 3-and-D guys, I'm a big fan of Bonzi and obviously Nigel Hayes-Davis, and you know this more than anybody that I was a big fan or advocate last year.
Yep.
I still have some questions that are related to how they will finish games. I'm not worried about them in the regular season. I'm not worried about Olympiacos. But I think
we're gonna get into that. But I think
so we're all aligned here.
Yeah, but what's interesting to note as well is after the Scotty Wilbekin injury, and
prayers up for Scotty.
Of course.
Hope you get well soon, Scotty.
May he come back better than he was. But I think that after his injury, it's going to be interesting to see who they pick as their replacement, because obviously we've heard a lot of names on Twitter the last couple of hours, couple of days. So I think it's going to be interesting to see who they sign. But Fenerbahce, in my eyes, is looking really, really strong. And I think that Wade Baldwin is going to have the year that I expect him to have. And I got a lot of hate, not hate, negative comments when I had him ranked number 8 in my top 30 list in the EuroLeague. But I think that he is 100% a top 10 player and a top 5 signing this offseason.
Doubling down.
Completely agree. I have no problem with that ranking. And what I respect the most, the biggest takeaway I had from that game was how he let the game, flow naturally. And then when it was tight, they were down in the second half. He went out and started playing like he, was the best player on the team. And I'm sure he feels that way. And I love Nigel too. I think it's very close. I would have Wade slightly over Nigel, but it's very close. I think that 1-2 punch is dangerous. And like you said, the big three that they have, if you put Bonzi in there as well, it's very elite.
What do you think about my because we spoke about this when we were out there in Vitoria too, like the question marks that I have about this team? Do you agree with that, or do you think that's going to be a non-issue since Nigel Hayes-Davis can be the primary ball handler as well?
I don't see any weaknesses on that team. They have 3 centers. Ken Birch came in and did his role, in the short minutes that he had. They have Bonzi. They have DP, Deshaun Pierre, who's very underrated. They have Guduric, and then they got a guy that, Artur Zagars obviously hasn't played in the EuroLeague before, but, I think he's a guy that, don't sleep on him too, because you saw what he did with Latvia, a year ago before the injury. He's a guy that can play, and I'm sure that, obviously Scotty went down and he's thinking, you guys don't really need to sign anyone. I'm here. So I genuinely don't have any worries about that team. They're elite, top to bottom.
All right, let's continue with what Mr. Aravadinos has provided us today. It's only one game, but Zalgiris will make the play-in. Before I pass the mic over to you, Chima, huge respect. You called it about Francisco. I think we all had him on our teams.
Yeah.
I was more impressed with the crossover that he dropped the defender. I know he had a big shot in the end. He said, shout out to Spanoulis. The crossover, man, we need stuff like that in the EuroLeague. Like they have Smitty's plays under the rim in the NBA. We need more stuff like that around these parts of the globe. But so Zalgiris will make it in the play-in tournament, Mr. Aravadinos.
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to say no on that one. I know that Sylvain Francisco, he didn't let you down. The exact opposite. I got him on my fantasy team as well. And in limited minutes, he had like 15 points in the fourth quarter. He went off. And I was watching the game and I was rooting for him, obviously, because I had him on my fantasy team. But I think that Chima mentioned that also some other guys, and he got spot on. I'm not sure how, Chima, you are ranked below me in the fantasy right now, but that's a story for another day. But to go back to your question, I think that there are many, many good teams in the EuroLeague fighting for that 6 to 11 spot, as I said last time in the first episode we did in Vitoria. So I think that Zalgiris right now, in my eyes, even though they had a big-time win, I'm not sure if they can keep it up and have the momentum, at least on the road, to win games and fight for the play-in spot. So if I had to choose now, I would say no.
I mean, yeah, for them to fight to get to the playoff, I definitely think it's possible, and I know they will do that. Like I said, the play-in is, 7 to 10, not just focusing on the top 8. So for them to get to the 9th or 10th spot is definitely doable. I think their team is deeper than last year's. And, Francisco is going to have a huge year. Like I said in episode 1, the only thing to watch out there is their highest paid player, Alen Smailagic, not doing too well right now over there. And the coach just came out and had some tough words about him in the media, which to me, I don't know how I feel about that, but I think he can get it together and then help the team, because I think he's a good player, and I like what they did with this summer with their team, and I believe that they can fight to get into the play-in, but again, it is too early.
Chima, a question for you, because you brought it up. Do you think, how do you view that from a player's perspective, the fact that the coach came out and said the things that he said about Smailagic? Does that motivate a player? Is it a particular case always different, or does it bother the player and the player ends up not doing good?
Man, I think it's different. Great question, by the way. Probably the only compliment I'm giving you on the show, but
he'll take it.
I think it's tough just because he's struggling, and I saw that he played 4 minutes in the EuroLeague game. It's different. It's different if you're a player that's having the minutes to make mistakes versus if you're a player that's not even getting the chance to play. I didn't see how he played in, the local league this past weekend, but in the EuroLeague, for him to only play 4 minutes, yeah, something must be going wrong, completely wrong. To hear that in the media, I'm hoping that, the coach said some things like that in the locker room. I think that's always the best way. But then when you go home, I'm sure his family is messaging him about what coach said. I'm sure his agent, or he's calling his agent like, yo, what's going on? So as a player in that situation, it's tough just because the coach is in control of your minutes. And, there's nothing you can do, especially if he's calling you out to the media this early. Yeah, that's probably one of the worst things you can deal with.
But I feel like we have an example with Coach Ataman. First few games of the season, he called out Juancho when he didn't play well in Barcelona. He's like, oh, yeah, one of our big players not playing well. You guys know him out here in Spain. And then we saw how Juancho impacted Panathinaikos last season. In my humble opinion, I feel like it depends on the personality of the player.
Yeah.
Some players need to be spoken to in a more professional manner, and they need to hear compliments, and some need to be MF'd in order to be motivated.
Wait. So you think his comments were professional?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that depending on the player and the coach, of course, because with all due respect, I don't feel like Zalgiris coach has the Ataman's cachet, right? So I'm just saying that we've seen Coach Ataman talk about his players and call them out, even his star players, and it's worked to the team's benefit. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about this example in general, because D had a great question, as you said, right? But I'm just saying sometimes it may work in your favor. I'm not talking about this example in specific.
Yeah,
just to be clear.
I don't know, because Trinchieri, I think, had in the past some sort of controversial comments about his players. So I'm not sure if that's the case here. But to answer your question, Chima, he had 5 points, if I'm not mistaken, in the game in the Lithuanian league, and they lost again. So not again, they lost the first game to Ritas. So I'm not sure. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that.
My last thing on that is just they're 1-0 in the EuroLeague, and we should be talking about Francisco's amazing play and them beating Barcelona.
Yeah.
But now going into the game, we're going to be talking about a negative, which we shouldn't be, which to me is the biggest reason why that shouldn't have been said.
All right, let's move on.
Yep.
It's one game, but Partizan is overhyped. Can I go first?
Wow. You can go ahead.
All right. It's way too early to be drawing conclusions like this. Completely new team. They played really well against a good team. Teams like Baskonia, even Zalgiris, they're going to do a lot of damage at home. So I wouldn't read into that loss. Big time win. You guys had to scratch your way. It was a tough win. So I think it's way too early to say that Partizan is overhyped. Will they meet expectations? We'll see. But I feel...
What are the expectations, though?
Give them some time.
That's my question. What
they got to make the playoffs, guys. They didn't make the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
So making the playoffs, is that with a completely new team? Come on now.
I think it's very possible. I definitely wouldn't say they're overhyped. I'll say they just need time. The whole team is completely new except for Koprivica. So they surprised me with the lineup that they played. Brandon Davies and Tyreek Jones a lot. Poku didn't play in that game, but that lineup was really good. Both of them had great games. I think Carlik Jones is someone that's still going to have a great year. And, I definitely, if I'm a Partizan fan, I definitely would not be, worried. It's way too early for that. I think that they'll be fine. And it's a tough game. If they win that game, and what are we going to say? That they need more hype? Or so I'm the type of person that doesn't like to overreact after one game, but especially with them, I think that they'll be fine.
George and Chima, I'm not sure. And the reason I'm not sure is because what's overhyped for you guys? Because for me, overhyped, especially for the case of Partizan, before the season started, we said that it's a new team, but everybody, and especially in Greek media, Serbian media, and the fans in general, in my eyes, they had Partizan ranked as a contender for the Final Four.
No,
because
I did not see that anywhere.
You didn't see that?
When I told you that I like Partizan in July,
I don't know.
you said
I've
that's a wild take.
I've seen many journalists. I've seen many fans. I've seen the thing that because it's gonna be in Belgrade, the Final Four is gonna.
Legit journalists?
It's gonna. Sorry.
Legit journalists?
Legit
or Twitter
journalists.
trolls?
Yeah. No. I think that because of all the hype that it's a new team, the Final Four is going probably back to Belgrade.
I hope so.
And because it's gonna be a team fighting for the playoffs under Coach Obradovic with names such as Carlik Jones, who in my eyes is gonna have a big year, I think they are slightly overhyped.
I want to say you build this segment, so you tell me what's overhyped.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that they are overhyped because of the whole thing that was said in the summer with the whole new signings they made. It's a new team, and obviously the Final Four is going to be in Belgrade. So right now, I'm going to have to say they're overhyped. Yep.
All right.
My question for you is: if they make the playoffs, is that a good season?
No, that's a successful season. We talked about that when we were in Vitoria. That's a successful season, but again, I'm not sure if successful and overhyped is the same thing. Like if, for example, you guys, we go on a 3-on-3 tournament, and we say we're gonna win the whole thing.
You did this,
and we end up.
You did it.
We're gonna win the whole thing, and we end up fourth. What is it? Aren't we overhyped? Didn't we overhype ourselves?
Let's leave these theoretical things out of the way. I said in episode 1 that I have some question marks about their scoring. Okay, I feel like they're one scorer away from being legit, like super legit playoff contenders, like top 6, like 6th or 7th place. The question marks. I mean, we're talking right here. We're just talking heads. You played against them. Why don't you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's one game. It's one game. Ife Lundberg didn't have a good game. So what if he's that scorer that you're talking about? And what if they win that game against us? The conversation then becomes some of the guys didn't play well and they still won on the road. So I don't like to overreact, like I said. I think Poku not playing was the thing that was most surprising for me. But yeah, I like what they did. I don't know if Dwayne Washington is coming back. Maybe he's that scorer that you're talking about. But I think that they will be fighting for the play-in and the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised either way if they make it or if they don't.
All right, moving on, gentlemen. It's one game, but Nikola Mirotic is not a top 20 player in the league. I'll go first. No comment.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Bro, what do you want me to say about this?
You don't respond to the question again.
I'm not going to respond. Like, what am I going to say about you? Really
yes,
want me to talk
yes
about
or
this?
no? Yes or no?
Bro.
It's as simple as that.
No. I refuse to. I mean, come on now.
He is.
Top 20, come on, bro. Top 20.
Come on now.
He just averaged 17 last year.
Oh my God! How quickly they forget.
Like it's actually disappointing that you really behave like that, DA. Seriously.
What do you mean? I didn't do anything. I just wrote a question.
So where do you think he is? Because I know what you're about to say.
What I'm about to say.
Okay. It's one game, but Nikola Mirotic is not a top 20 player in the league. Go.
No, I think he is. I think he still is.
Okay.
I think he still is. But they had a very disappointing game against Monaco.
I was expecting to play better too, to be fair.
I have to keep it straight. I don't know. I think he is top 20. Yes. Top 10. No.
He's still top 20 for sure.
Yep.
All right. It's one game, but Real Madrid is in serious trouble after losing 3 consecutive games. Mr. Moneke.
I wouldn't say serious trouble, but yeah, there's some things going on that I'm sure they're not happy about. And then, they want to make changes. The coach already came out and said to the media that, they need more players in a long season like this, which is true. And just the type of success that they're used to, obviously they never expect to lose 3 games in a row ever. So I think that's the pressure that they're feeling. And I would say this, there's probably 4 teams, maybe 5 teams that, making the playoffs is not enough. And Real Madrid is one of them. So, yeah, I think that they definitely are looking at some changes that they need to make. And we'll see.
DA?
And they also won a close game against Zaragoza in the weekend. It was a close game all night long, all evening long, because it was an evening game. But I think I wouldn't say they are in serious trouble. I get where Chima is coming from, but then again, every year, contending teams such as Efes in the past, Panathinaikos last year, Real Madrid this year, I don't know. I'm a bit too cautionary on those teams, because last year I said that Panathinaikos was in serious trouble earlier in the year, and they ended up winning the EuroLeague.
Bro.
Sorry?
I'm going to give you a pass on that one. They signed Kanan afterwards. Come on now.
Yeah. But again, I wouldn't say they're in trouble. I would say, obviously, that these are games where you should win. But again, especially how the game went in Munich. Shout out to Carson Edwards. Great game. But I think that Real Madrid is going to be in the Final Four again this year. So I wouldn't say right now they're in serious trouble.
I don't know.
You don't know about that. You don't know about that. Wow.
The way the team is built right now, Final Four.
So
I would bet on them not being in the Final Four right now.
Not being in the Final Four.
I mean,
Wow.
that's probably good odds. I'll check
Wow.
Bwin right now.
Wow.
Check Bwin right now. But let's talk about the team compared to last year. You're missing Yabu. He can stretch the floor, rebound, and defend. That's a really good, versatile player. That's why he's in the NBA playing for the Philadelphia 76ers. Shout out to Yabuzeli, okay? You could have gotten a good guard, a star guard that's not 33, 34 plus to help you in the scoring department, right? Like, that's where the league is going. Everybody's looking for players like that, and you chose not to. So I feel like at the moment, right now, the way Madrid's built right now, they are nowhere close to where they were last year.
There's no way they don't make the Final Four. No way.
I don't know if I'm ready to agree
Like
with
1%.
Tim Dog.
1%
I gotta check
chance.
the odds. You know,
Like,
I'm a numbers
there's no
guy.
way. Like,
Hold on.
Chima, so basically you're saying that they're not going to be in the top four, because other way they're not losing series with having home court advantage.
But why are you so sure that they will have home court advantage?
Because every year they do.
Yeah, every year. But this year, to me, they're not as good this year. Panathinaikos is in the Final Four. Olympiacos, Fener. And then that fourth team, to me, there's three teams.
So
there's 3 or 4 teams that are looking at Madrid and like they will be excited to play them this year.
I'm kind of with my guy right here. A 5-game series, home court advantage, experience, the 1-5 with Campazzo and Tavares, like.
No, Chima says that they might not be in the top four in the regular season.
Even if they don't have home court. Even if they don't have home court, the experience, and here in Greece we have we say the weight of a jersey. We say that they have varia fanella. It means that the jersey weighs a lot. So I feel like with Real Madrid that's applicable. So I'm not ready to say that they're not making the Final Four, but definitely when you don't substitute. When Poirier leaves, and obviously he's a starting center, $2 million guy. I mean, I love Serge, big time player, NBA champion, but
don't do that. Don't do that.
What?
Whatever you're about, I love Serge, but Serge is not the problem.
No, I'm not saying that. No. I'm just saying compared to Poirier, because I'm not. I didn't say anything about Serge. I just said Poirier leaves. You signed Serge. I love Serge, but Poirier is a starting center in the EuroLeague.
George, you can say
he was your backup.
You want.
No. I love backup. I interviewed a backup.
You can say anything you want after that.
Dude.
It's as simple as that. You can say whatever you want.
No. Have I ever shown you that I'm shy to say my to speak my
Say
opinion?
what you need to say.
So I'm not ready to say they're not making the Final Four, but I do agree that they're in trouble. Not serious trouble, guys, because losing in Zalgiris is not a big deal. Sorry, losing in Bayern is not that big of a deal. They didn't lose a game as a 13-point favorite. They were 4.5-point favorites.
The way they lost the game.
The way they lost, I agree. It's still early in the year. A couple veterans are gone. So we'll see. I'm not ready to say they're not a Final Four team.
So right now, who's in your Final Four? Both of you.
The Greek teams.
Exactly.
The same
Greek
teams they
team?
were last year. Same teams.
Yeah. I don't know about Monaco yet, bro. I
same
I
teams.
gotta see him all together. I gotta see him in big games.
Okay, fair.
I
Okay.
need to see him against big time opponents, and my Fenerbahce question marks will be answered in games like that as well.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next subject. Mr. Aravandinos has prepared for us. It's one game, but Olympiacos is not as good as we thought. Come on, bro.
No, I agree. They are as good as we thought, but obviously they're missing two key pieces in Mustafa Fall and Nikola Milutinov. And I think that the matchup against Fenerbahce without those two guys favors Fenerbahce like 10 games out of 10 games. So I think that the same way... No, I'm just saying that it favors Fenerbahce the way that they are built in terms of going up against Olympiacos without having those two centers. That's what I mean.
Okay.
But I think that the same way as Real Madrid, the same way Olympiacos will bounce back. And I'm sure that they're going to be a top 4 team when the regular season is over. So I'm not too worried about Olympiacos. But obviously it's one game, but anything goes.
Mr. Moneke, it's one game, but Olympiacos is not as good as we thought. What do you think?
Yeah. When you play another elite team, someone has to lose. You can play horribly one day and win, and you can play well and lose. They lost, and I wasn't tripping. I was watching the game saying, yeah, these two teams are two of the best teams in the league. That's what I was thinking. So I'm not worried about them. They're a team that nobody will want to play in a series. And I feel like, Moses Wright is being slept on. I feel like they need one of those big guys back and they'll be completely fine. But when they have 3 of them, one of those guys will be, upset with the playing time. So I think you get Mustafa Fall back or Milutinov back, and then it's even more dangerous than having all 3 of them. But they're amazing, man. Top to bottom, they're amazing. Scary.
All right. So as far as Olympiacos, guys, obviously covered this team for a couple of years. I don't really like when we say, oh, they lost, but they were missing this guy or that guy, because that dictates their tempo and their style of play. With Mustafa Fall, they have better ball movement. They're better defensively, but they can't run the floor like they do when he's not on the floor. Okay? So right now, this is an adjustment period for Olympiacos. It looks like Barzokas is letting Fournier out there play through his mistakes, as they would say in the NBA. You know what I mean? So it's going to take time for this team to figure out what 5 they want out there when they want to defend, what 5 they want out there when they want to run. And as you said, somebody's going to be unhappy. Petrusev is a starting player in this EuroLeague. He might not play when everybody's back. But at the moment, I feel like it's all about figuring out the chemistry, figuring out who plays well with whom. Because I would mention that watching the Panathinaikos game, I saw a lineup with Grant, Brown, and Osman. I don't remember the bigs. And they're not the same threat as when Sloukas and or Nunn are out there. So we're still tuning up. We're still trying to figure it out. And as a talking head, what say you, Mr. Moneke?
Yeah, I think they're deep. They're super deep that, yeah, naturally people won't be as happy as they would be in a lesser team. But that's the sacrifice you have to make if you're a team that a lot of people expect to win the EuroLeague, which they are. So I think, the Petrusev situation is very interesting because he's really good. And when the team is fully healthy, there's probably not space for him. I think Thomas Walkup should be starting.
Yeah.
With either, if I was the coach, I would have Walkup always starting with Dorsey and Fournier and Vezenkov, and then Mustafa Fall or Milutinov and Moses Wright. Either way, you're good. But I think Walkup should be in the lineup no matter what. Yeah, but
It was
they're just
interesting. It was interesting because what was it? Do you remember the stat? What the number was? Like
Yeah,
177
like
out of 178?
176 straight games.
So
Thomas Walkup started, and then
71.
yeah. But I have two takeaways, and I'm gonna get that also on the overplay show that we're gonna do
yeah, we
together.
gotta talk in Greek. Save some
Yeah,
stuff,
we're gonna talk in Greek. But I think that those are two things that I kept an eye on: Thomas Walkup not starting, and Sasha Vezenkov heading back to the fourth quarter with 3 minutes to go in the game. So these two were somewhat of a question mark that I had.
Last part of this segment, it's one game, but Panathinaikos is one level ahead of the rest of the teams. Mr. Moneke,
No.
you go first. No.
No. They played at Berlin. And yeah, like I said, I don't overreact. I think they're at the top, but Olympiacos is with them, Fenerbahce is with them. For sure, I think those three teams are the best three teams in the league. But I wouldn't say that they're ahead of either one of those two teams, like, one level above. So
Wait, just to
no.
get this straight, because we might have to start beefing right now. You're saying that Fenerbahce is in the same level with the Greek teams?
Is that like breaking news or something?
Yes. Yes, sir, it is.
Why? Why?
Because I do not think they're in the same level. I think definitely the Greek teams, they're deeper, more talent, especially guard play, scorers, different types of scorers. Come on now.
Since Friday, I'm not sure, George.
Yeah, but they literally just played one of the Greek teams and then lost a $2 million player in Scotty Wilbekin early in the game.
Fenerbahce is going to lose 2 or 3 games at home this year. It's not news to me that they won at home. It's not news to me that I don't think Panathinaikos is going to win there. I don't think Real Madrid's going to win there. I don't think Barcelona's going to win there.
Anything can happen on any given night, but at the end of the season, I will bet whatever amount of money with anyone that Fenerbahce will be in the top 4. Straight up. And in the series, a lot of people, most teams will not want to see them either. Just like with Olympiacos and Panathinaikos.
Chima, can you do the same for Real Madrid?
What, in the series?
Yeah, no. Can you bet money on Real Madrid not being in the top 4?
Oh, man.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm more.
I'm doing that.
Money. What? So wait, hold on. If they don't make any changes, does the deal stay?
Yeah, but what? If they don't make any changes, if they bring someone and you're gonna say you're changing your opinion because of that someone, I don't know. No, we're saying now.
Kendrick Nunn came last year, and then just like what you said, I'm saying right now, if their team stays the same, then that's my thought process. Yeah, 1,000%. But
if the team stays the same, if the team changes, if the coach changes, if whatever, they are a top 4 team in the EuroLeague right now in the season.
He's not saying that. He's not saying that. But let's not stay here. How about we go into the next segment?
No, before we go into the next segment, George, I have another one for you guys because I didn't state my opinion. I think that Fenerbahce is on the same level as the Greek teams and Real Madrid. 4 teams right now, top tier. But I have another segment for you guys, and I want both your guys' opinion. It's one game, but Kostas Sloukas, the MVP of the EuroLeague Final Four, won't average more than 20 minutes per game.
In the regular season?
In the regular season.
I do not care. I don't think any Panathinaikos fan cares about what Kostas Sloukas does.
I'm not sure about that, George, because there was a debate last year, the whole saga with Olympiacos, with Kostas Sloukas not playing enough minutes, and he comes to Panathinaikos, he plays more minutes, he is the leader of the team, he wins the EuroLeague, he wins the Final Four MVP. I'm not sure if it's not a big deal, quote unquote, to say that Kostas Sloukas won't play enough minutes. I think nobody cares. I think Kostas Sloukas does not care at the very moment right now that we're speaking of. But again, this was a discussion the last few years in Greece. After
will he play 26, 27 minutes in the playoffs?
After his move,
that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. Whatever he does in the regular season, I will bet whatever amount of money that in the playoffs and if they get to the Final Four, he will play 25 minutes.
Chima, you're losing all this money. Come on. Chima.
I'm rich. No, I'm kidding.
All right, boys. Triple Threat Show, powered by Bwin, episode 2. First one out here in the studio for us. We're waiting for you. We'll remove your jersey and hopefully have you in the middle here with us. so you can do headlocks like we did in the photo shoot.
Gotcha.
Let's go to
Very
fill in the
soon.
blank. The MVP of the first round was D.
The MVP of the first round was Tamir Blat. I think he's going to have a breakout year. I'm not sure if the Sabian Lee signing that is reported that Maccabi is finalizing with Sabian Lee, the former Suns guard, is going to change Tamir Blat's role on Maccabi. But I think that he's going to have a breakout year. He was phenomenal in the first game. They end up winning the game, comeback win. So I think hands down, he is the MVP of the round. Huge signing, by the way, Sabian Lee. He had like 36, 6 and 6 on the opening night of the BCL. Huge signing, but I think that Tamir Blat was the MVP of the round.
I disagree, but I'll let Mr. Moneke go first.
Yep, my MVP of the first round was Wade Baldwin. I think, no disrespect to Tamir, he was amazing. Like, when I saw his style, I was like, whoa. But he's a great player. Every time my teams have played against him, he's always played well against us. So he's one of the guys that I respect. But I think what Wade did in a battle of a team full of many stars and superstars, he was dominant. 19, 7 and 5, 26 PIR. He felt he was the best player on the court. He acted like it. He played like it. There was a control and pace that he had to the game that was just like, okay, yeah, he's here. And I liked how in the first half, he was, getting guys involved and controlling the game. And then in the second half, he's like, yeah, I'm here. And Nigel was big in the second half too, but Wade was my MVP in the first round.
I'm going to wrap this up by disagreeing with you, gentlemen. Mr. Francisco, you're my MVP of round one. Talk about cooking in the fourth quarter when it matters most.
Hold on. Speaking of Francisco.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Yeah.
All righty.
My brother.
All right. Yeah. So calling game. Cooking in the fourth quarter, coming in. He hadn't played much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, my MVP would be Mr. Francisco. And we can move on to fill in the blank. The best big... Oh, I like this one, D. Finally, man. Fill in the blank. The best big three in the league is...
George, you go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Come on, guys. I'm gonna have to have two big threes.
Oh my God, I'm gonna walk off. I'm
You're
gonna
not
walk
doing
off.
that.
You know what he's about to say, Chima, right?
I already know.
Both the Greek teams have the best big three. You know what, Chima? In Greece, especially George, what he does in the Overplay show, he doesn't give any props to the other teams. It's like only Panathinaikos and Olympiacos
They're
exist.
the best team.
Like, for example,
I don't pay them.
We did a ranking of the top 10 players, top 10 signings, and he had like 7 of the Greek teams, 7 of the 10. And I'm like, does anybody else play? Like,
I am not going to respond to this because that's fake news.
no, mate.
That's fake news.
Oh my God.
So I will not respond to that.
Yeah, he had like
as
6
far
players.
as big threes, since we're talking about big threes, I would say it would be 1A and 1B. Okay? But as of right now, considering they're the champs, I would say Sloukas, Nunn, and Lasor are the best big three in the league at the
So
moment.
Real Madrid's big three, Fenerbahce big three is not a good big three. Hezonja, Musa, Tavares, Campazzo, do it as any
No. Well,
way
you
you
can't
want.
have a whoa. You can't have a Real Madrid big three without Facu in there.
Okay,
Let's
I said
start
out
with
of
that.
these 4, pick whatever 3 you want. Pick whatever 3 you want.
I would probably do Facu, Hezonja, and Tavares, but guess
This
who
is
cooked
not a
them in
good
the
big
final
three.
last year?
Fenerbahce, the new big 3, it's not a good big 3.
I would not
So
rank them
Baldwin,
as good as-
Colson, and Hayes?
No, I would do Sasha, Fournier, and then one of the bigs of Olympiacos up there. Like, bro.
You see who's
people-
biased,
no,
Chima.
So here's the thing. Recency bias is
Greek
a thing in
glasses,
life.
Greek glasses.
It's not only in basketball. It's what have you done for me lately? You know that. That's real life. That's also basketball. People forget how good Nikola Milutinov is, man. People forget because he's hurt, because he shares minutes with Mustafa Fall and then Moses Wright as well. healthy, he could legit be one of the top 3 centers in the league. Come on now. He's the best finisher around the rim in the EuroLeague. My opinion. Omer Yurtseven, show us. But right now, it's Nikola, in my humble opinion. So, yeah.
Okay.
I would put Fournier, Sasha, and a healthy Nikola up there as well. So, I would probably go between the Pana, Oli, and Real Madrid over your Fenerbahce big 3. But the question is, one, and I will pick the champs because that's the easy answer. So, what say you, Mr. Moneke?
I agree with you, my friend. It is Sloukas, Kendrick Nunn, and Lasort. I think Real Madrid's big 3 is second. I would have Campazzo, Tavares, and Hezonja in there. But obviously, yeah, on any given day, you can put Musa in there too. So I'm not mad at it, but I would slightly have the defending champs in there. Lasort back-to-back EuroLeague first team. They have the Final Four MVP in there, and then Kendrick Nunn was first team as well. So yeah, I got them.
All right, D. Let's hear your because all you do is this.
No.
Looks like
No.
All right, all you do is this. Literally.
No, I said this. I said this. I like that though. Flip that. I like that.
I did there. I said this and then this.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I didn't disagree that both teams have strong big 3s.
You call me out, bro.
No, I called you out because you have Greek glasses. You don't see anybody but the Greek teams. So
You know what? You should save this for the Overplay show.
I will.
Because I don't want people who are watching us in Turkey and Serbia to believe this because it's not true, and you know it. This is you're bringing. It's like bringing your work problems home. Leave this for the Greek show. Give me my respect, and let's hear your top 3.
Top 3 is Panathinaikos.
Oh,
Second.
this guy, man.
Yeah. I wouldn't put Olympiacos' big 3 above the other teams that I mentioned. I would put
above the Fener big 3
and Real Madrid. The reason is the center, because right now, in my eyes, Fournier, Vezenkov on paper have probably the best 1-2 punch in the league. But as a big 3, I think
it as a
Real Madrid's and Fenerbahce's is above.
1-2 punch. I want a big in the 1-2 punch, like a legit big.
Vezenkov is a big.
Chima?
Vezenkov is a big.
He's a power forward. If it's a 1-2 punch, then it's Campazzo and it's Tavares.
Yeah, I agree with that. If we were doing 1-2, I would probably do Facu and Tavares because it's top 1 or 2 point guard and top 1 or 2 center in this league. They're 1 or 2.
And Fournier, we gotta see.
Yeah, 100%. I just
give him time.
That's why I said on paper, but for big 3, I have probably Panathinaikos number 1. Yep, go ahead.
If Keenan Evans is healthy, is he in your Olympiacos big 3?
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
With who?
Yes. Keenan Evans. Bro, let me remind you that you...
Oh my God. George, you said that Nigel Williams... Oh my God.
He's not healthy yet right now, dude.
It's not the Overplay show. Stay tuned for the Overplay show, but it's not the Overplay show.
We cannot dub it yet. But if you
oh my God, the contradiction on this guy is crazy.
Bro, you had him in your top 5 guards. Okay,
yeah.
save it for tomorrow.
So who would you remove?
Save it for it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
No, I would do Evans, Fournier, and Sasha, or I would do Evans, Sasha, and a big.
So you agree with me from the Overplay show segment we did that Nigel Williams-Goss is not going to play as many minutes when Keenan Evans comes back.
I don't know where I found this guy.
That's crazy. Anyway, Chima, we're getting out of
topic.
Let's
talk about news. Let's talk about news
and
not hypotheticals, okay? Because this is probably the most serious thing we're going to do here in episode 2. All right, Barzokas against Jasikevičius. What are you guys' opinion? Let's start with D.
That's, I think it goes back many years. 2018 was the first time that they had a clash, if I'm not mistaken, and they exchanged some post-game words. Now it got even bigger, more viral, let's say, both the comments that they made after the game. It was not friendly at all. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how Olympiacos fans, how can I say, welcome Sarunas Jasikevičius in the Peace and Friendship Arena. The reason, obviously, being because he played for Panathinaikos many years.
It's not the fact that he played; it's the thing, the kaskol. I don't know, what do you call that in English?
Many things. But I don't have an opinion as to who is right, who is wrong. I'm not sure what happened, what transpired the first time they met, what transpired now in Istanbul. Obviously, both coaches are saying that the one coach disrespected them. So, I don't know. Chima, I don't know if you saw the clip. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Obviously, I just saw the handshake line clip. I didn't see what he did to make him that upset. But, especially after winning a game, for him to still be upset, it must have really bothered him. And he said it was the second time that this happened. I like beef. I like beef. I feel like we need more beef as long as it stays, on the court and it's never personal. And, it's not often that you get coaches beefing. I like it. I want more of that.
But George, correct me if I'm wrong, but it started in the first half because they got both a technical foul, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's where the beef started the last time they played each other last week.
If I'm not mistaken, Barzokas was mad at Saras because Saras was entering the court too much. I feel like the home coach always does it on its home floor. He kind of steps in a little more than the away coach. I do not know what was said. I just remember Obradovic in a final being mad at Messina after he won it. So in regards to what you said, Chima, if the coach is mad, I don't think it matters if he won or lost because that guy just won a EuroLeague final and he was like, to Messina, he was saying something like this. I just like the rivalries, the new EuroLeague rivalries that we had. Because this guy, he keeps calling me out, but there are more rivalries than the ones that, like, let's say, Partizan and Zvezda or Panathinaikos, Olympiacos, Real Barcelona. Olympiacos and Fener, they gave us a really nice 5-game series.
Yep.
There's a rivalry developing there. Panathinaikos and Maccabi is a renewed rivalry since Panathinaikos is the top team again, and they gave us another 5 games. They gave us 5 games in, 2012, I think?
And Olympiacos and Monaco.
Olympiacos, Monaco, that's one of my favorite rivalries. I think all their games are decided by just a few points. So rivalries are good for the league, and Olympiacos and Fener have one going, and I'm looking forward to the next game. It's funny because last year they were saying they met in the last game of the season, and they were talking about possibly losing on purpose. The media was saying that, and then they played really hard into overtime, and they were laughing off. After the game, like, oh, they were saying that we're going to punt this game, but look what happened, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just happy we have more rivalries.
If we have a playoff series, Olympiacos versus Fener, it's going to be the best one.
How is that going to be possible?
It's
going to be top 4.
Like 4-5, but it's going to be tough. Yeah, probably.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But what's also not going to happen is Real Madrid not being in the top 4.
Let's revisit this. How about we talk about Zvezda a little bit. We touched upon Partizan. All right, forgot this one. Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about Zvezda anyway. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Red Star's playoff chances are... D, you go first. You prepared this, so you go first.
3.
So 30% chance.
30% chance. They got a nice win. I was expecting them to win the game against Paris. Obviously, TJ Shorts had a huge first half. Chima, you mentioned TJ Shorts in the last episode, so shout out to you. But I think that Red Star, again, there are many teams fighting for that 7 to 10 spot. I think they can sneak into the play-in, but again, if they sneak into that 10 spot, it's going to be difficult to win 2 games and advance to the playoffs. So I think 3 is a solid number right now. It may change, obviously. It's only 1 game, but that's all we have.
Go ahead. I'll wrap this up, but you go ahead now, Mr. Moneke.
I would say 4 or 5, just because it's tough, man. Like, it's on paper, there's teams that are better than them, but just like last year on paper, there were teams that were better than Baskonia, and we people picked us 12th, 13th, 14th, and they're still doing that this year. So, doesn't really matter what people say. It's just if they're going to get on a run and then, use their home court advantage. And obviously our next game is in Serbia. Oh, man. So we'll see. But, it's going to be a great game, and I wish them the best.
I was going to fly out there to see that game, but tickets are like 300 one way. Sorry.
George, reply to your question because I have a follow-up for Chima.
I don't want to. Go ahead.
No.
I don't. I just. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to. No. I'm not trying to duck the question, gentlemen. I just want to say that I will be more vocal about my opinion after 6 games. You guys are rushing into the league right now.
Chima,
reactions.
Chima, let's wrap this up. We don't have to talk about basketball. Okay, let's go.
Sorry,
that's all we have.
Sorry, Bwin.
All right. So,
what's your question, bro? Give me your question, DA.
Yeah.
My question is because you said that you're flying out to Belgrade to play against Red Star. My question is, who are the 3 best atmospheres in the EuroLeague?
That's easy. That's easy.
That's easy.
Too easy.
Partizan, Red Star, and Pana. But I will say that I've only been to Oaxaca once, and that was at the start of last season. That's actually the only regular season game that I did not play. And the crowd was cool. It wasn't what it became.
Mm-hmm.
But the craziest environment that I've ever played in was when I was in Monaco, and it was in the playoffs, and it was in Maccabi game 3. Nothing compares to that. Just because the lead up to the game, it felt like for the last 10 minutes of the drive into the, arena, they were just banging on our bus, spitting on the bus, there was flares lit up everywhere. It was crazy. It was intimidating before we, got into the locker room. And when we walked into the locker room, they already started letting fans in, and fans were blowing horns and all of that. And if you've been to Maccabi's arena, like, you run out from underneath and then you run, and then the fans are literally just like on top of you. And if they wanted to punch you, they could punch you. That's how close they are to you. And guys are like using the megaphone to like yell in our faces and all of that. And this was I was in the EuroLeague for 6 months of that, 5 months at the time. And it was just like, whoa, this is different. So I still have yet to play in an environment like that. But in the regular season, Red Star and Partizan were both different. And then I'll put Pana in there as well.
So top 5. So top 5, you would say Partizan, Red Star, Panathinaikos, Maccabi.
Well, Maccabi's for sure. And then the 5th one would either
That's
be...
That's best to worst?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 5th one would be either Bologna or Zalgiris.
Okay, interesting.
All right. May I speak about the subject that I want to speak about? Or do I need to answer about the Red Star's playoff chances after 1 game?
Oh, so you're going to give us an answer?
I'm not. I'm going to tell you that I'm really, really looking forward to Red Star Baskonia. I feel like that's going to be a nice little feel-out game. And I'm gonna have some conclusions after that game. I'm going to keep some notes, and we'll talk about it next week. But I'm looking forward to Efes against Fenerbahce. And if Fenerbahce loses, I'm going to have some questions for you gentlemen next week, because I want to see him do it on the road. Let me remind you about their home and road splits last year. 2 different teams. I feel like they had 1 or 2 losses at home, maybe only 1, but they couldn't win on the road. That was last year. Let's see this year if they can win on the road. And it'll be really interesting.
So, Mr. I'm not gonna overreact until round 6 is gonna overreact.
See the contradiction,
I'm
right?
saying teams that couldn't win on the road. Hey, at the end of the day, they won on the road when it mattered. They won Game 5 on the road. Guess who beefed with this guy about Fenerbahce beating Monaco in the playoffs? Because he only remembers the thing that are good for him.
Didn't I give you credits? And
you gave me credits in Greek. I need credits
for Nigel
in English.
Hayes as well. For Nigel Hayes as well. Didn't I do that?
You did. You did episode
When
1.
you respond to a question, I'm going to give you.
But Mr. Moneke, is there anything else that you would like to add to episode 2 of the Triple Threat Show, powered by Bwin? Shout out to Bwin.
Like and subscribe.
EuroLeague sponsor.
Shout out. Absolutely, we got to shout out to Bwin. No, I think I like I like this format of this week where there's games on 3 different days because it gives the people, you know, more days to look forward to the EuroLeague and not splitting your time, like going back and forth between games and all of that. So I like that a lot. Aside from that, the game that I'm looking forward to the most is Real Madrid and Partizan, just because, you know, we know the history between those two teams. Obviously, a lot of guys weren't in that, you know, incident in the playoffs a couple years ago. But whenever those two teams play, it'll be very, very interesting. And both of those teams lost in round 1, and, you know, we'll see how they respond in round 2.
Excellent. Let me close up the show by reminding everybody to follow the Triple Threat Show on Instagram. We have a signed Chima Moneke jersey coming your way. We're going to pin the link in the comments below. Make sure you go follow the triple_threat_show. As soon as we get to 1,000 followers, we're like 800 almost. We're going to shoot the jersey to one of our loyal followers. Let us know in the comments below what you want us to add, what you want us to subtract from the show. I know me and D need to shut up, but, you know, we're talking heads. We talk. That's what we do. Mr. Aha, ha, ha. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
And also, you guys, you can also follow us and follow the league, the fantasy league that we created on the EuroLeague Fantasy app. That's Triple Threat Show. We're giving out 1 PS5. Uncle George is giving out 1 PS5. And also, we're giving out 2 jerseys of your favorite players. So that's the best player is going to get a PS5, and the second and third places are going to get jersey. So stay tuned because great things are coming up. Subscribe, like, and give us the comments, as the guys mentioned as well, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Yeah, and that's about it.
Let us know if you agree or disagree before the games, fellas. Take care. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Peace.